Howdy folks, today we are going to be importing related items using Unigy's uRapidFlow Pro extension for Magento. So in front of us you can see that I have two spreadsheets for two different sets of SKUs. In each of them, the first row I have the category product related item notation here, along with the SKU, along with the linked SKU, along with positions established for each of them. How this is going to look once I import it will vary heavily depending on your site, but I'm going to show you how it looks on our site. If it ever loads, there we go. Alright, so those related items are going to be imported into the repair parts tab like so, and since I am specifying an explicit order on them, I can control how they show up in the list. So back to our spreadsheet. That's that. They're all set. I don't have anything for quantity. How did I know how to format this spreadsheet? How would you format it for cross-sells or upsell items? Well, the documentation on Unigy's site is very good. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how to get to it. Go to Unigy, uRapidFlow Pro, the documentation, the wiki, and in our case we're doing the fixed row format import. When you go to the wiki for the fixed row formatted spreadsheets, it's pretty great. Along here you can see what type of fixed row data can be manipulated. I can see the related item right here. I'm going to click on that and go to it. And I can see this is sort of cryptic. This didn't make a lot of sense to me at all. It's not terribly cryptic. But the good thing is that for most of these, they do have a spreadsheet containing examples. At least they used to. And maybe they don't anymore. So it looks like the spreadsheets are only for some of the fixed row import types. I can see here that the catalog product related item doesn't have one, but if I scroll up I can see examples here. I like to see the real thing. You can see here that this guy, what is this? Catalog product image does have an actual CSV that you can download and open and see exactly what the spreadsheet should look like. The schema is always what this short letter code is in the first column, followed by just follow the documentation. So if we go back down to the related product, sorry I'm jumping all around here, we have in column 1 is the SKU, column 2 is the link SKU, column 3 is the position, column 4 is the quantity. If we go back to our spreadsheet, you can see that we essentially have that character code, the SKU, the link SKU, the position, and the quantity. Now they're inferring that I don't need this first column, and I will hit on that next. Let's go into Magento, into the admin. If you've seen some of my previous screencasts on uRapidFlow Pro, you can see that I have 3 pairs of profiles that correspond with the 3 different data sets that you can deal with using uRapidFlow Pro, and that is product data, category data, and fixed row data. For each of those data sets, I have a basic import and export profile. We are going to be importing fixed row data, so let's go to there. Now, I'm going to jump right to the import options. And the reason why I don't think you need this first column explicitly set is because you can limit the row types to import. So in this case, related items are exactly what I will be importing. So let's take this from the top. With that being said, profile information. There's my title. That's not changing. There's what I imported last. Let's get the file name for what I am going to be importing now. All right. Most of this information is left at its default, the default that it's set when you originally, or initially rather, create the profile. This basic information, the profile status, obviously it's enabled. The store view is just as high as it goes, the admin. The file name I just updated, that's what I'm going to be importing. That file resides in the default directory for imports, which from the root of your Magento install is just in the var, uRapidFlow, and then import in this case. Profile status, I can see the results of the last import that I ran, and I will see the results for this import as soon as we run it, as well as the progress indicator while we're running it. File options, I don't have a remote server like I just said. I am putting this import on the default in the default directory. Format options, nothing changes here. I'm using all the standard defaults. Import options. Now this is key. This is key. Like I said, I am importing related items. I need to make sure to click on that, although in my case, since I have that explicitly defined here, I'm not quite sure how it would handle that, which leads me into my next point. Unlike product and category data imports, you cannot validate a fixed row data import. So it is absolutely critical that you make sure your spreadsheet is 100% perfect, and that before you do anything in Magento, you make a backup of your entire store. That said, reindex type. I'm going to do a full reindex. That's generally what I do. The context of these different uRapidFlow profiles that I have created is broad. I like it that way. It would just confuse me if I had far too many profiles. So that's why I leave it at full. Auto import image files. Now I have done this. This doesn't relate to this screencast, but you can import image files. Where this is particularly useful is if you have more than one image. If you have just one product image, you don't need to do that in a fixed row import type in uRapidFlow. You can just do that in a product import. So if that's unclear, let's go back once. We can see the product import type. Under here, data type, products, categories, products extra. So let's go back in here. Let's update our file name again because we didn't save. Now where were we? So I'm going to make sure to select that full. I am not going to auto import image files. Generally that should be left off. Generally I like to lock down everything as much as I can so I don't make mistakes, especially like I said on these fixed row imports. Upload files, I don't need to do that. Reindex, I have my database indexes set to that all of the indices are reindexed, again because the context of my profiles is broad. So profile configuration is JSON. We went over that JSON last time. Where this is useful is after you've set up and created a profile, say in a different Magento environment, a staging or a development environment, it's a lot easier to just copy and paste this JSON into your production environment rather than going through clicking all the options and saving the profile. If you could just copy this JSON data, you can make sure that you have the exact same profile created in your new Magento instance. All right, I'm going to let her rip here. Like I said, this is always a bit nerve-wracking because you cannot do a dry run, as they call it in the uRapidFlow Pro or uRapidFlow world. So, save and run. All right. And it looks like we did a nice job. We were successful. And that's always a good feeling when you're running these fixed row data imports. So my indices are going to be reindexed right now. After that, I'm going to refresh cache, and then we'll have a look at the front end to make sure that our changes went through and that everything looks good. All right, my indexes have finished refreshing. I have cleared the cache. Let's check out the front end and make sure that everything looks hunky-dory. All right, these are the products that I imported the related items or repair parts as we label them on our site. That's a good sign. All right, and we can see that all of these repair parts have been successfully imported in the order that we defined in our spreadsheet. Hooray! Let's do another one because I do have one more. We'll do a twofer. I have one more on my queue tonight to import. So that is 1531 initial. Let's copy this. Let's go back to profile information, update our name here. Double check that we are doing for the 1531s the related items. Everything looks good here. We don't need to really run through any of this again because everything is staying the same. We have CPRI selected. We're doing it at the broadest level. We're going to fully re-index the indices. Let's save this and run. All right. We had 11 rows with errors on this one, which is never a good sign, but it looks like, let's export this file, throw it on the desktop quick. Looks like for the most part we're going to be okay here. So while those indexes are being re-indexed right now, I'm going to take a look at where we went wrong here. There we go. Good. So we have one range, which would indicate that this SKU right here does not exist, or has at least a typo, is the wrong SKU on the spreadsheet or is wrong in Magento. So I'll take a look at that and we'll see if that's the case. All right, so by now the database indexes should be refreshed. And I refresh the cache, and I'm taking a look for that, what is it, BH1281A. And I can see that it does exist, so at this point I'm perplexed, but it's one single SKU out of thousands of rows on this import, a couple thousand rows on this import, 11 rows. And there were, to my recollection, 11 errors, if I recall. Yeah. So in a case like this, all I would do is go in and edit this manually. Manually add those associations. It's not worth my time to do this on a spreadsheet and re-import it. I don't know why that happened, but c'est la vive. I will update these associations within the Magento admin, and then on the front end, where we can see this repair parts is severely lacking in repair parts, in just a couple minutes I will have it. And that concludes this wonderful video about uEnergy's uRapidFlow Pro fixed row format product data imports. Thanks, folks.